I have a brother who is 7 years younger than me. I was in second grade when he was born, and as I already had 2 sisters, he was a much welcome addition to our family. Before my brother was born, I hadn't had too much experience with babies or toddlers. I didn't remember my sisters in that stage, as we were all so close in age. But I remember so much about my brother's younger years. One thing I never forgot was his 3-year-old intensity. He went through a stage, much as many toddlers do at that age. A stage when his favorite word, his favorite question, his raison d'etre was why. Why? It's all the entire family heard for a very long time. It drove my mother crazy. As I'm sure mothers would, when she had finally had enough, she would firmly say, "Because I told you so, that's why." I still laugh, remembering my mother and her impatience. I can't blame her. She had her hands full with 4 young children. But I found that I never lost patience with my brother. I loved his why questions. I would plunge into answering them with all the enthusiasm of a 10-year-old, answering to the best of my ability. I felt a responsibility to his questioning. I answered every one, as each why took us deeper into satisfying his curiosity. I was reflecting on this time in my brother's life as I was considering my own intensity. As INFJs, we love intensely, don't we? I think that thought has been widely circulated, and I find it to be true in my own experience. But I'm trying to talk of things which don't get spoken of as much, and today I'm going to speak of the intense side of us most never see. Those who are in our immediate circle see it, and that is our intellectual intensity. We are intense in this way as a 3-year-old is intense. Why? We overwhelm the person we are questioning much in the same way that 3-year-old overwhelms their parents. We are much more reserved in the questioning when it's just a general acquaintance, but much more crazed when it's someone we find fascinating, or with a topic we find fascinating. In my younger years, I was emotionally overwhelming in intimate relationships. I lost an important relationship because of it. But something in me changed gears over time. Now, I just overwhelm with my overactive mind the intellectual side of me. I am constantly on the search for those who can match my intellectual intensity, and not only match it, but understand it as well. I believe we are intense because of our TI, because we drill down on details, because we want to get to the bottom, to ultimately see how a person thinks. Because remember, it really is all about people for us. We can be intense when we study things, but when we study people, the intensity is up to tenfold. We want to know how society thinks, feels, and operates. On an individual level, we want to know how you think, how you feel, and we will keep drilling down until we get there. If you are the type of person that is intimidated by this sort of thing, then the INFJ personality type is not one you probably want to get intimately involved with. And when I do this to someone, this intense digging into your mind, I am not trying to be intimidating. It's because you are fascinating to me. It's because you are intriguing to me in a way that very few are. When I dig deep into who you are, it's probably the highest compliment I could ever give you. I want to know everything I can about you in order to give you the very best experience possible. We are vulnerable in our thinking, I've come to find. All our lives we have considered ourselves feelers, but then have been made to sometimes feel inadequate in this. So because a feeler isn't valued by all, because our emotional intelligence isn't always seen as the gift it is, we seek to start developing our logic. This has definitely been the case with me. Being rejected in your emotional intelligence causes you to start valuing logic and rational thought. And I believe this is a very good thing. I am grateful I was kick-started to develop my logic and rationale, and I will confidently say that even though I realize I am not as naturally gifted as some types when it comes to these skills, I am definitely a worthy conversationalist. Also, I consider myself more well-balanced overall, intellectually and emotionally speaking. But until you understand this fact about yourself, until you understand that you are a thinker in every sense of the word, you will be sensitive to the fact that you are so intense. And when someone makes you to feel uncertain about something you don't even understand in yourself yet, when someone is angry at you or criticizes you for your deep way of thinking, for asking all the whys, for drilling down, you will be hurt and puzzled. You may even apologize to that other person, feeling somehow as if it is your fault, when in fact it is not. What it is a misunderstanding from someone else of who you are and how you think. Just as a 3-year-old should never be berated for asking why, you should never accept criticism from someone else regarding how you think, or even feel the need to apologize for it. It might be annoying, I'll grant that, but it should never be reprimanded or squashed in such an unfeeling way. You should never allow that kind of action from someone else. I really hesitate to bring other types into this because people are people and we have to be careful of too much generalization, but I think I will break my rule here and mention one type in particular, a type which, other than our own, I believe can really hang with us in this way. And this observation comes from much personal experience in my life, which is why I feel confident in mentioning it here. This type is the ENTP type. I have been privileged to have had 5 ENTPs in my life, knowing them in all stages of life, from early teens through their 80s, and in all of my conversations with them, I have never had any of them make me feel insecure in my intensity. They can weather it, and not only can they weather it, they can match it. Hours and hours of conversation, playing ping pong, back and forth, hitting that ball across the court, waiting for its return. It is so refreshing to me, and I love them for it. I can just be me with them, intense in my whys, expecting to receive interesting ideas in return, and never being disappointed. I will honestly admit I am highly attracted to intelligence. For me, intelligence is the most attractive thing there is. I greatly admire the ENTP who can hang with me in a real way in conversation and doesn't beat me down for asking why. Rather, they relish it. And I greatly admire any personality type who can hang with me in a real way in conversation and doesn't beat me down for asking why. So, my dear INFJ, do not let someone berate you for your intellectual intensity. It gets the job done. In the same way as that 3-year-old makes a huge leap in cognitive development by constantly asking why, the INFJ makes the same leap. Don't let others hold you back. Respect your vast intelligence. Keep asking why. Keep digging. Keep growing and developing. In doing so, you'll go farther than you ever could have imagined.